Good evening and welcome to Choices WSTX. We're also streaming live on Facebook and other social media platforms. We actually have, I don't know, we're expecting Charlize to join us from Syria, but I'm yet. Okay, it's been an eventful week. Real week of this evening's discussion. I have to do it. It's good to be here in the studio after a week, which was, as I said earlier, very I hope that you guys connected to us, linked up with us, whatever platforms you're using, whether it is radio or social media. We want to again welcome you. We hope your week has been fruitful and rewarding, and we look forward to a restful weekend, if I may. I've got some folks here with me this evening. I want them to go ahead and give a shout out. Let's begin with you on my right. Love.
Good night, listening audience. My name is Mandisa Love, better known as M Love, and I hope everybody's having a great Friday.
My name is Anuki Takahina.
Hi, good night. My name is Andisha Charles.
Hi, good night. My name is Jelena.
Good night. My name is Aiden Shaw.
Good night, everybody. My name is Azani John.
All right. Sounds good so far. Now, again, I want folks joining us for the first time to know that this program is called Choices. It's about empowering young people in particular, but no one is included. This goes out to everybody, young and old alike. But essentially, we want to empower the youth, especially in this community, in terms of making wise choices and decisions so as to have a transformative future, if I may. So it's all about transforming lives, helping people to make right decisions. And life is all about relationships, whether it is on the family level, whether it is on a professional level. We constantly engage in relationships. And relationships can go off the track, become a little toxic. And so in this program, we try to look at relationships that become toxic, that end up not being as harmonious as intended, and see how we can make better choices, better decisions in terms of preventing certain things or even containing problems in relationships. So we're going to have two main episodes this evening to discuss. We're going to ask you guys some questions, and of course you can give us your responses in a very candid fashion. But before we go there, I want to just simply pause, if I may, without pausing, to give thanks and praises unto the Most High, the Creator, because I didn't come here by myself. I found myself in this matrix. I've learned many things, and I understand that there is one responsible for my existence here, for me being here, and that is the Creator Most High. So I want to give him thanks and praises. I do read scripture, and scriptures tell me that he has made me in his image and likeness. He has formed me fearfully and wonderfully, and then he's given all of us dominion over fish, fowl, cattle, and everything that creeps. There are lots of things that we don't fully grasp at times, but spirituality to me is an ongoing process of development whereby we prepare ourselves in just like here for what's greater, bigger, and better to come eventually. I don't see death as an end of things. I believe when we go through what is so-called death, it's actually a transition because we are physical and spiritual. So the spiritual moves on, the physical stays behind. So we make sure we make good choices, proper decisions, wise decisions, so that when we transition, it's going to be all well and good. Having said that, folks, I don't know how much you guys listen to the news lately. Some things have happened here in the territory that's been a little bit troubling, severely troubling. If anybody followed and want to jump in and tell us what you heard, what you read, what you came across that's troubling, go ahead and do so.
Oh, I would love to start. So one thing I'm noticing politically speaking is a lot of our politicians, just like we spoke about last time, are now, getting caught up with certain activities that are tied to Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting that people are so quick, yet again, to defend individuals without yet being proved innocent or guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people need to stop putting their heads in the chopping block so quickly. Let the
Mhm.
evidence come out,
Mhm.
then share your opinion. Because after the evidence come out and it shows a guilty, how are those people go completely quiet? They don't take no accountability.
Mhm.
So I prefer for a lot of people to stay quiet, let the evidence come out,
Mhm.
because when it's on the other side of the aisle, they're very quick to judge.
Mhm.
Point in fact, Trump.
Mhm.
They were quick to judge him, even though it was speculation, still is speculation, which we've yet to see any complete facts. And it
Mhm.
goes both ways. People need to stop with the hypocrisy, where it's if it affects me and mine, oh, I'm going to defend it to the last. Nepotism is so real in this community,
Mhm.
and this has shown so much of it.
Mhm.
So that's just my thoughts.
Anyone else?
Like something that happened on the news.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know if y'all seen it had this thing on where not thing, but something that happened with this pregnant lady and her child,
Mhm.
and where there was a group of school children who beat them up. Did you see that?
I missed that one.
You didn't see that?
No.
I said it.
You seen
I
it?
said it.
You know about it?
Yes, I did.
So it was school children that beat
Yeah.
him up?
A group of school children saw this pregnant woman and her son.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
I don't know if she was pregnant, but she had two
Yeah, she's
children.
pregnant.
She's pregnant too.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah,
And she has I think sickle cell or some
yes.
condition.
Mhm.
And it was in Chicago, and they ended up first it started out as bullying, and then it quickly got physical. Because of her condition, she wasn't able to properly protect her children, and she and one of her children ended up in the hospital,
Wow.
both alive.
Wow.
Thank God.
Wow. It shows that we lack sensitivity, we lack compassion, and when it begins at such an early age. And that's why we need to reach out to the youngsters, the youth in the community. And I wanted to touch upon the Kids Count report, what it says about our youth here in the Virgin Islands, and the fact that the youth have been neglected to a large extent by those in leadership position. Yes, I said it. I'm not afraid. I don't pull back. It is the truth. But I want us to touch upon that. I want us to consider the case of the 6 minors arrested in the St. Thomas St. John district for having made bomb threats to sitting schools. And I want us to understand that when you have minors, 6 minors, getting involved in such activity at such a time as now, clearly it appears to me that there is a lack in terms of proper guidance, whether it's from parents. There is a lack of training programs, educational programs to have our young people go in the right direction. Because if it is that these youngsters felt, well, this was like a prank thing, it wasn't in because of the internet bombards us every day with pranks of all types. And maybe they felt it was just pranking. We need to teach them that these things aren't right and these things can have serious consequences. Any reactions? But yes.
It's just like what you just explained. There's little opportunities, and we're constantly bombarded on social media by a lot of negative things. Nothing really positive. And one of my biggest things is we took God out of schools. It doesn't have to be religious,
Mhm.
but when you take God out of schools, when you take God out of society,
Mhm.
this is going to be the repercussions of it,
Mhm.
because nobody cares. The
Mhm.
principles, nobody has any principles anymore that they really live by. Some people just go based on, oh, I'm not hurting nobody, it's okay. Or if they don't find out, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So, yes, I'm sad for the young children. I truly wish that they had a hub where they could have grown to know better.
Mhm.
But this is a situation where some form of accountability has to be had,
Mhm.
so the future generations and the other children around them
Mhm.
will know better. And that's a sad reality.
Well, and again, let me just say that, from day one, when mankind came upon the earth, problems came in. We have the first murder recorded in the Bible being one of the sons of Adam and Eve, killing a brother, and that was from the very get-go, the problems came in. But of course, we're learning, and we have such a thing as leadership. And leaders are supposed to give us a sense of direction in terms of where we're going, the things we need to emulate, embrace, and those we need to reject. And somehow Leadership is failing. I'm going to tell you all why I say that. We talk about these things with the 6 youth minors being arrested, but we also have a case of an assistant principal who was arrested for having molested a student at Gomez School over in St. Thomas. I think between 2019, 2019.
This is a coach.
The case of the coach was another one. It just goes to show you what we're doing to the youth. You know, this, the case of the youth, that one was adjudicated, tried in court, and the coach has been sentenced. And there were enablers, we're told, who knew what was going on and didn't refuse to take any action. But here is the case of an assistant principal who sexually assaulted a student on several occasions. He has now been, after a lengthy investigation, he has now been arrested and charged with several, how do you call it? There's already several counts of sexual assault. And that is sad. It shows that, we're really not looking out for the children. And on top of that, as we look at the kids count report that came out, this is just an amplification of what we've known along, which was said before, in terms of, some 40% of our children, especially in St. Croix, live below poverty levels. Do you imagine that? 78% of children graduating from our schools and having to go to UVI, they have to take remedial courses. About some 40 plus, I don't recall the exact percentage, but of our children, a significant percentage are actually failing in math and English language arts. And this is not the first time we're hearing that. We have an education department. We have leaders in various positions, and they have failed to put in place policies to address that. Not that I want to criticize, I'm just being for real, that we need to do something about it. And when we speak about the Epstein case and what's coming out in terms of affiliations between Epstein and other people here in this community, St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, I want to say to all of us that yes, those sexual crimes committed by Epstein and his associates involve a majority of them young women who are not from the territory as far as we know. But we have to consider our own children being abused by our own people. And it needs to stop. Because trust me, we might think, well, okay, everything is just beautiful. We don't have these cases. For every one case of sexual assault you hear, trust me, you have many, many cases that go unreported. And so we have to empower our children to know what is acceptable as in terms of what is unacceptable when it comes to being approached by adults. And I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to get some flack for that. When we talk about decency, when we talk about lack of morality, I'm saying it here, and I know people will be pissed with me for saying that. But if we're going to be serious about it, we need to teach our young men and women to treat their bodies as sacred vessels or temples, if I may. I cannot help but say that, we get ourselves into an entertainment frame of mind. I'm not against entertainment, but understand that music has a good side and a bad side. Music can mislead. If you're listening to the wrong music, you can go astray. So you've got to be wise in terms of what your choices of music that you listen to, the songs that you sing. I think we've got to be wise in terms of, I saw a young lady on either TikTok or Facebook, a Virgin Islander, and she was talking about those people who go before the band and walk up and so on, and telling them that there are other things that they should be doing. My only problem with her is that she was using a couple of obscene expressions in presenting herself. But her message was on point. Young women, treat yourselves as princesses and queens. Understand that Your body is not a plaything to be tossed around between Tom, Dick, and Harry. Young men, when you get involved in sexual relationships, you're getting into history. The woman you get involved with, if she has been involved with 7 other guys, you're getting history from these 7 guys. Every time a woman gets involved with guys, she's collecting history. So there is a, how you put it, there is a trail, a historical trail. And I'm saying, let's be careful. I'm an older person. I've been there in the valley. I made some mistakes. I thank God he protected me. Because I think I should have been dead. I found myself in situations where I should have been dead. But I escaped miraculously. And even in terms of when I was loose, I didn't contract HIV. Thank God I'm alive and well today. So I'm saying let's be careful, because you make one slight mistake, one indiscretion, you get into a relationship with the wrong person and it's trouble. A friend of mine told me that he was traveling from Frederickstead. I mean, this is serious. And then a young lady stopped him by the post office asking for a ride. She was knockout pretty, he told me. When they got in the Campo Rico area, she asked him if he could just drive in there to pick up something. What do you think she went to pick up? Drugs. She got back into the car and she was drinking one of those canned beers. She used the can as a makeshift pipe to use it to get her drugs. And as soon as she had finished and the partner is driving with her, she has to make out. I guess under the influence of the drugs. So partner looks into and he's married. He's married. He looks into his glove compartment trying to find a condom. No condom. And he says, man, I just couldn't pass up on that. She was knocked out beautiful. I had to risk it.
I think he saw it.
You know. So he risked it. Now, thank God, he's not sick. His wife isn't sick. They've not been infected. But I'm sharing these things with all of us, those listening, viewing, so we can understand that, man, we got to be wise in terms of the decisions we make. Any reactions before we continue? And by the way, for those of you viewing, listening, if you want to call into this program, 340-773-0390, 340-773-0490. Give us a call, let's say your views.
I actually would love, because I've always felt that I don't normally court young ladies who have been hyper sexually promiscuous because I see the trauma that comes with it. And I'm a stone 100% believer. I give grace. I hope you find a husband. It won't be me. But again, I hope you find that. But I would love to hear their opinion, because a lot of people love to have an opinion until you have to articulate it and defend it publicly. Everybody could go on Facebook and be a keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
But now, if there's any disagreements, anybody wants to call in, I would actually love to hear you defend it properly. That's just my take.
All right. Any other person wants to say something? You, M Love? M Love, I know you have all kinds of positions when it comes to these matters.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
How long was the husband married for?
They've got children. They've got either 3 or 4 kids, so they've been married for a while. But clearly, the brother has been doing his thing.
Yeah, I don't think he's happy enough.
Right. I don't know if it is unhappiness or just lack of discipline.
Like his lust.
Let me hear that.
I say he like his lust take over.
Yeah, definitely. We got to have a sense of control.
Yeah, you got
You
some
know.
control.
Yeah. But there are guys like to say, well, it's a moment of weakness.
The heck,
And guys like to say, well, when hormones are raging in the body, you have no control. But this is poppycock.
That's just an excuse.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like
Definitely. And then what's the other interesting thing? You'll have a guy who has gone all around the coast doing his thing. He's just been fortunate that he didn't get any lady pregnant. But when it's time for him to settle down, he wants to get married. He doesn't want the lady who is so-called defiled. He wants a virgin. And I think this is wrong.
Unfair.
Can I give a breakdown? We both look, men and women are different, and it's something we have to accept. It's kind of like when I go to a certain, well, like when I used to go out, I used to see women get in for free, not men. We always have to pay. The women did not complain about fare then.
Mhm.
So when it's something that negatively affects them, they seem to have a negative opinion of it. Of course, that's hypocrisy to me.
Mhm.
So when it benefits them, I'll say it again, they're all good with it, even though it doesn't benefit the men. But now when it negatively affects them, oh, that's not fair. Articulate your argument. Of course, it's fair because we look for different things. Men judge women mostly based on their past.
Mhm.
We all know when women are younger, it's much easier for them to get sex whenever they want.
Mhm.
A young man, no car, no experience, he doesn't have swag, he doesn't have game, he's not going to get much attention.
Mhm.
That's why most of the young ladies normally choose someone a little bit older with more assets.
Mhm.
He's able to pick them up, pay for everything, and then later on in life, after they've been through a lot of them, they want to complain that they're being judged in their past. But if a man doesn't make himself anything, or if he's not able to build himself up,
Mhm.
he's judged for it.
Mhm.
So why don't they complain about that, about the young men who have to suffer? There's no problem then, but that's just my take. And I hope one of the young ladies will like to have articulate their defense and have a lovely conversation.
All right. And I want to hear you guys. But before that, I think I have somebody on the line. Let's say what this person has to say. Hello, caller. Good evening and welcome. Good evening, my brother. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good evening. This is Flush. I'm calling your night show.
And I'm happy to hear your voice.
Okay. You know, as we see it and observing this thing with Epstein, it's as if it has just begun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's every hour almost you're hearing or seeing something else. On the stateside level, the Virgin, we call the Virgin Islands, was being called Epstein Island.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with so much of counselors and teachers and assistant principals filing young men, I read something there earlier this evening. Rape was actually raping these young men. And I know the president, I know the man very well. I can't believe it. Never thought he could do something like this. But I don't know. We can see now where this whole thing is going. But to get back to the SC thing quickly, and then I'll go and continue to listen. This whole thing with Epstein, as far as I'm concerned, has to be laid squarely to the feet of Governor Bryant. I say so because when he was chairman of the Economic Development Commission,
Mm-hmm.
he granted Epstein, knowing very well that this man was already convicted and jailed stateside for pedophilia and sex trafficking. He granted him out of our money, people, Virgin Islands people, a $350 million tax holiday.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that is where this whole thing started. And of course,
Well, hold on.
yeah,
He was the chairman of the.
the chairman, yes.
But then there are other members.
I think okay, true. And we say, well,
So that we cannot. So if we're going to blame him as chairman of the EDC, then we should also blame the others who sat along with him, because it could not have been a unilateral decision. they all were complicit.
True.
And then another thing we have to understand about the dynamic of things in the territory, especially on such a level. I got to tell you that sometimes a call comes in, maybe even before the commission sits, or whilst the commission is sitting. But trust me, you got people sometimes behind the scenes who call and say, "Listen, now we want to take care of this individual," so that even though there are guidelines based upon which they give their respective tax breaks, but sometimes the breaks may be up to bit, maybe overly generous because you got people behind the scenes calling shots. And so I just want to say to all of us that when we examine this thing, to just single out one or two individuals to blame, let's look at the total picture and see what we can make of it.
Yeah, but I mean, what you're saying is true because, John, that I know it all. Been in government for almost 30 years back in the day. I too could have been involved in these things because I know them to be happening, and you just have to be in the right crowd in the right place. You can get anything you want. From free government land to go to bed with it, you want to go to bed with. I mean, who wants to stay that so they can continue to deny that? But I know better. Okay?
And so you see the importance of making wise choices and decisions, so that even our elected officials locally and nationally get caught up sometimes because they don't know how to be discreet in terms of what they say and what they do. And then the other thing we have to understand is that there's a line in scripture that says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." And I'm seeing a money connection in most of these entitlements.
I'm glad you went there because I just tonight when I was sent some information, I wrote something and I quoted the very passage of the Bible where something people said the money is the root of all evil. No, it's the love of money.
Right.
And I like to say the over love of it. Because a lot of these people that is tied up in this kerfuffle. And by the way,
hello? All right, apparently the call dropped. All right. All right. Anybody has any?
I mean, I just wanted to say, like, honestly speaking, about the last thing you brought up, because I love discussion. When any of the young ladies want to have a lovely conversation and defend their point if they disagree with what you said, perfect. Defend it, please.
So I had this conversation this week actually, and somebody tell me that how it looks bad when a woman have a lot of bodies, but it looks so good when a man supposed to have a lot of bodies just what a woman likes because it shows their value and their worth. Basically, if you look at it, a woman look for a man with a lot of bodies because they wouldn't look for somebody who's unexperienced.
So you're saying.
I mean, you tell me. Would you rather inexperience or experience?
I mean, I wouldn't want somebody with a lot of bodies.
Have you asked? Do you ask when you choose your partner?
No, you get that.
So you do not truly care.
No, I don't. Well, I care.
You just proved it. You just proved it. It was thank you.
But I prefer. I mean, I don't care, but I prefer. I prefer somebody.
Okay.
With respect.
Do you ask?
I mean, something you got.
Do you ask? Did you ask your
I mean, I
friend?
walk up to somebody and be like, how much body do you get?
No, bodies.
I mean, you have to
Sorry.
have a private
Yeah, go ahead,
conversation.
No, we're openly having the dialogue, right? So the reason I said, do you ask, is so she could give an experience that she's actually had. So when I court a young lady, I ask. It matters to me. So if you don't ask, that's normally because it doesn't matter. So I want her to defend that.
I mean, I do ask, but when I ask, I am looking for somebody to say, "Oh, I have 13."
What if he says he loves you? He has his no. He loves you. He has his life together, but he tells you, "Hey, I have 20 bodies."
But are you going to get more? Like,
He's with you. He's loyal.
That's if he's
Yeah.
willing, that's if he's willing to settle down with you.
And that's if he train change, and you only need one person to make somebody change.
But let's just say that he's treating you right, everything's going perfect, and then he tells you, "I have 30 bodies." Are you leaving him?
oh yeah.
30. He treats you well. He takes. Are you leaving him?
That don't
No,
mean
30 bodies. Don't worry.
nothing.
No. You have to utilize the cast.
I don't know.
You're not. Are you gonna leave him?
No, you take too long to change. You should have stopped off.
So you're gonna
Why?
leave him?
He had no reason to change. What he changed it
Yeah,
for?
so like, if, especially like in that situation, like if it was you, and like he had told you bodies and then he changed and stopped, like change his ways, basically.
I got scope for the scenery to see if he really changed.
What? So like, what if he
But he's
really
treating
did
you right
change?
already. He's loyal.
But people change.
So it's gonna be harder for you to trust somebody with 30 buddies than trusting somebody with like
So let me ask a question then.
question.
So what-
Answer-
let me-
answer
let
that-
me-
yeah, let she answer.
Go ahead. Go
Let she
ahead.
answer. You don't know.
If it, I mean, no.
So let's-
So the point down then.
Thank you. That's it.
Let
That's
me
my-
let me ask you guys a question. To what extent would you be honest and tell a young woman or a woman the truth that you have been around 10 different women? Would you be that honest to say it, or it's like it's of no importance? I have no children with them. They are not baby mamas. I don't have to tell her that.
Like you mean currently around woman?
Uh-huh. How many of you guys feel that not necessarily you, but your friends and associates would be that upfront and honest and say, I've been with 10, 13 different women?
I mean,
Let me hear you. Let me hear you. All right, you go ahead.
I'm very honest. Actually, the young lady I'm talking to, she asked that just a couple days ago, and my body count is not low. And I was very honest with her, and she was like, "Wow."
Mhm.
And the first thing I responded to her was, "If that is an issue, I have no problem with you not wanting to talk to me, because I actually respect that, because it's something I've never had women judge me on."
Mhm. All right. Anybody else? You, Mandy?
And that's our next thing. Like, oh yeah, like if you're a person like that doesn't have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have a problem like saying how much money you have.
Mhm. Go ahead, Mandy.
I honestly just feel like it don't matter because people have been dishonest so much that like you probably don't tell me I'm lying. That's how I feel anyhow. Like for me, majority of guys just tell lies. I don't want to hear it.
Like solo females.
That's true.
Females
Females
are
are
tell a lot. The females are there, and the bodies more than men. I feel.
I have to disagree.
The
It's,
longevity
it's
of
the
the life.
men and the women we normally
Yeah.
choose to go after or entertain. That's the problem we have. We don't vet our partners properly. How many of y'all meet the parents before it becomes sexual? A lot of times we don't even allow that, especially when we're young. I like to vet very thoroughly.
Mhm.
I just feel like we need to get a little bit better at it and stop thinking we know everything until life has to humble us.
Let me just say that again, in life there are consequences to our behaviors, the steps we take, what we get into. So that a young woman who has been banged 3 times, I hope I'm not being disrespectful here, but she's been banged 3 times. She doesn't have children. There are no signs.
Wait,
Of
treat them with
damage.
the same person or treat them like
Doesn't matter.
Different.
Doesn't matter whether it's with the same person or with different people. She's been banned, period. But she doesn't show any signs of banging. That to me is of no import. The one who has been banned and she shows signs, whether it's that she has 3 babies and 3 baby daddies, you know, that there's a consequence of having been banned. And that can have an impact in terms of the decision that I make. I mean, come on, we're impacted by these things. You go to buy a car, you go to a used car lot, and you see a car that got into an accident. You can't say anything unless you go to, how they call the thing that gives you the history of the car? Carfax. Carfax may tell you that car was involved in an accident. When you look at it and you say, hey, listen, the damage is covered. I can live with that. On the other hand, you look at another car. You don't care what brand it is, what make, but you have evidence of banging on that car. You don't want it. You follow what I'm saying to you? So people have to be conscious of these things. When you get into entanglements, man, you minimize risk as much as possible. I'm saying this to you all as an older person. You know, young people may not see it that way, but to the young women out there, hey, if you can, by all means, keep yourself chaste and pure. So you got to tell no lies. When the guy meets you and the guy says, tell me something. You ever kissed somebody before? Well, you want to say that no, you have not kissed, and you know you have kissed. Have you actually made love to somebody? You there pussyfooting, you don't know what to say. You either don't make love, or and if you lie, you may be discovered to be lying. So minimize that so that you can tell the person boldly that I have not been touched. Or you can tell the person, well, I've been touched, but does it really matter? So let me hear you.
Right?
Yes.
What was your relationships back then? Because I don't never hear about love stories, and if I did, it would so I want to know honestly from you. I want to know how it was back then, with relationships and whenever I start being sexual and what age and da 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 da.
You know, actually, let me just say something about
how I used to go, if I used to ask about anybody.
That is the next question.
No,
I see grandparents having a lot of children.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
make them get 50.
Well, let me tell you the truth. When I grew up, guys were naughty. If you were fortunate to be driving a car, you were privileged. You were privileged. I grew up at that time. You know, I drove my father's car, and not many guys drove a car around at that time. So I was privileged. So that means that I could have what we call a dig out. A dig out with a chick.
Why is
They'll
that?
do my thing.
Why is that? The car actually attracted women?
You somehow, it just shows almost as though status.
Thank you very much.
That's what it was, status. Now there are guys who didn't have cars, but they did things in the bush. No, I'm being for real. I'm telling you all like it is. Guys were always looking for an opportunity to jump. Most of the girls that I knew, especially those who, and I attended a secondary school where selected ones went to that secondary school. It was not for everybody. Like today, everybody goes to high school. In my days, you were selected. You had to write an exam. You had to pass the exam. Your parents paid for you to go to a private secondary school. And so these girls basically kept themselves. Somehow they got instructions that they would resist. And guys felt that their obligation was to press. If the girl got to be weak, you succeeded. And that's how it was. We were chasing them just like how you're chasing today. But there were some boundaries set. And one thing my mother told me was that in her days, a young man had to write to the lady's parents to ask for the hand in marriage. In fact, there was a ceremony associated with that. So that when I was checking out my wife, whether it was foolishly or not, I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter because of what my mother had told me and because I was really serious about her. I really wanted her. I wrote a letter. Now writing a letter, I don't know. I did it, but people don't do that today. People don't do that today. I don't.
I think self-respect has gone down.
Yeah, I'll just openly say this one. The young lady I'm currently talking to is in Indonesia. I'm actually going there in May to meet her parents. We have not had one sexually charged conversation yet. My 31 years on this island, I'll tell you this. The more aggressive you are, the more willing most young ladies are when they're younger. I just never imagined it would be that would be the situation. And then when they get older, they seem to want to have more uh, what's the word, respect for themselves.
Mhm.
I want them to develop that respect early on because by the time they've been, I'll say it, banged out enough times,
Mhm.
most men of value are
Mhm.
not going to want them.
I wanted to repeat that so that the young ladies out there who are listening, I wanted to repeat
Yeah,
that.
most men of value, once you've been banged out enough times by enough men, are not going to value you. They're not going to want you. It is literally that simple. That man built his value now. He's in a position, wait, he built his values now in a position to attract a certain level of woman. And now he has a choice. And he's not going to pick the young lady who's been with all kind of different lower value men who did not value them and added their trauma onto them. And now he's going to make that a part of his future legacy. I'm not saying it's not possible, but the chances are extremely low. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
Okay, so what if the girl is like a pretty girl, so she have been but not like a lot of times? Do you think like the dude will still value her?
Definitely. Like you said, she hasn't been banged out a lot of times. It's just like more, it's just how many times, how loose she was, because we all know young ladies get to decide when to have sex. We got to work for it. We got to hunt. We got to be like, hey, I like you. I'm not saying it's not getting easier because these young ladies are now hunting us on some occasions. But that's crazy. They have the power and they don't even see the power they carry. The goal of why I like this whole thing is this conversation is trying to show y'all the power you carry, especially the young woman. Men are not going to value you. I'm sorry, in this generation, if you're just giving it up. They'll tell you pretty words just to get between your legs. And once they get that, trust and believe the men of value are watching. You get banged out by these men. I've watched plenty of them. And all I could think in my head is, at the time, was if this young lady gives me a chance, boy, I'm gonna have fun, but she could never be my wife. And I'm being honest. That was at the time. I said that at the time.
Mhm.
Remember, maturity is something that comes with time.
Mhm.
But at the time when I was younger, I was not valued by these young ladies. So of course, if later on in life you give me your time, I'm gonna have some fun. That was my mindset, and I know it's a mindset of a lot of young men who have to go through this and endure this. These young women need to understand this.
Mhm.
Tit for tat. You had your time, now it's mine.
Mhm. And I want us to continue, but let me see. I think we have somebody on the line. Let's see what this person has to say. Hello? Hello? Hello, caller?
Yeah, John Bob.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have got dropped, and I'm really enjoying hearing the younger people perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get back to that, but I just want give me 2 minutes just
Go ahead.
to finish what I was saying.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, just today or yesterday, I was talking with a colleague of mine out of Washington, D.C., who is in the know with exactly most, if not all, of what is in the Epstein files that the court has determined has to be released
Mm-hmm.
from the Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a little heads up with which is already known. I mean, except that we know that there's a whole lot of officials in the government, some already that were arrested, some that were questioned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all this sort of thing. So we know it is more coming,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting very tenuous and it's getting sad
Mm-hmm.
because he mentioned to me of one official lady in the government right now in the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
and she is so fearful that her name is going to come out to the public
Mm-hmm.
that she had to be placed on suicide watch. Very distraught.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny when you're having the fun and the sweetness and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think, and the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Now the consequences is facing her head on. Why did I do this? Why did I get involved in this foolishness?
Can I ask you and all Virgin Islanders to do me a favor? The Epstein situation has several layers. I understand from what I have read that there is even a level of espionage involved in that, or if you want to call it intelligence entanglements, whereby even the Israeli government has been implicated.
Oh, yeah.
There is something called national security.
Yeah.
And trust me, if there is anything in those files that touches upon issues of national security, the public will not get to find out. So I want us, when we discuss this thing, when we tell people about it, let them understand all the layers involved so that they can look at this thing and make intelligent decisions and not just simply go by hearsay and propaganda and spin, if I may.
True.
So I'm simply asking all of us, to take that kind of approach.
Right, and you're correct. And you're right. There's several layers. And, Trump himself, even I can now see, in a way, why he didn't want to release the full file situation.
Mm-hmm.
It was, as much as he tried to hide himself from it,
Mm-hmm.
it's there. He and FT have been friends for donkey years.
Right.
So, he can't get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and you mentioned the very word, national security.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is deep.
Yes.
And if you see what happened to what was he in Great Britain? Was he a prince?
The prince, yeah, the one-time prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost everything,
Mm-hmm.
every Jesus thing,
Mm-hmm.
And the queen didn't play with that. She said, we're not going to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, national security and secrets of state
Mm-hmm.
could very well come into play.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this to you and those who are listening and the young people here in the studio with me. There is definitely, or there are rather, money connections between Epstein, high-powered people, and all the others, to include even the victims. And I want us to say something when we look at money. It's important that we understand what money is. And reality is that money is a defense. Money answers all things.
Yes.
If the United States and those powers didn't have the money, the wealth to build the rockets, the spaceships, to engage in space exploration, it would not have been done.
True.
It takes money to get these things going. And so money has its place, but we have to be very cautious and prudent in terms of how we access money and how we utilize money.
And you're so correct, because as a biblical person, I know you're also aware of the term, the filthy lucre.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, filthy lucre don't mean that money is not good. Of course, money is good.
Mm-hmm.
But you overlove it so much that you'll get yourself involved in filth for it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll kill for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll
All right.
get back to listen to the young one.
All right. Thanks for calling and sharing.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yep.
All right. The point which was being made.
Forget the reels.
You forget the point? Okay. Well, I want to say one thing to all young persons listening to this program and you who are here in the studio. Listen. This is a journey. This life experience. We learn as we go along. You travel through the valleys. You climb the hills and the mountains. You don't get bruised. You don't get scratches. If you don't get broken bones, thank God. But I want you to understand that bruises and scratches heal. Broken bones are mended. And never ever think that because you made some unwise decisions or you got entangled into something where you have major or serious consequences that you are beyond repair. Never ever consider yourself beyond repair, no matter what you've been through. Always look towards rising up. You fell down, dust yourself off and start walking again. And if you have to run, run. Don't you ever reach a point where you have so much low self-esteem that everything in the tunnel is darkness. You're even contemplating unaliving yourself, as some do. Never ever get to that position. Keep your head up. Look to the light. And one thing you should always say to yourself, ask the Creator Most High to send you love, send you light, send you power. So when you walk in love, you walk in light, and you walk in power, regardless of where you've been or what has happened to you. I want to leave that message with you guys.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now we have two episodes that we want to discuss this evening. Hot potatoes, if I may. I want you all to listen carefully because I'm going to throw some questions at you. And you know, it's important that as we go along, we have to develop the best strategies, the best approaches to minimize risk in life. There are some things that just naturally come with high risk. One responsibility we have, how do we minimize risks or eliminate risks? And if risks do come, how do we manage them? That's important. But here are the two scenarios. Let's listen carefully. Scenario number one. My wife and I'm not talking about my wife personally. My wife and I have been happily married for the greater part of 11 years. However, approximately 6 months ago, a co-worker began stealing my love on the side. Notice that, stealing my love on the side. Recently, she informed me that she is 6 weeks pregnant, presumably with my child, and that she has no intentions of having an abortion. Absolutely no intentions of having an abortion. I explained to her that such a revelation would devastate my wife and threaten my marriage, but she refused to see it my way. I think she is being selfish and unreasonable. A close friend informed me of a local concoction that can induce a miscarriage. However, I must find a way to trick her into drinking it, and also, if it is too potent, there can be complications. I am stuck between the proverbial rock and the hard place. What are my options? And let me just share some with you. We're going to do them one at a time. Do this one and then we'll shift to the next one. Should I try bribing her with money to bait her into terminating the pregnancy? Don't forget, money answers all things. Money talks, you know. Should I run the risk of getting her to drink the concoction secretly? Should I face my wife and fess up? Should I run away and abandon ship? Or should I just let the situation unfold on its own and face the consequences? Whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Me, thank you. So first of all, that's a grown man. He know what he been doing from the jump, and you know the consequences. You cannot tell a woman what to do with her body. First of all, I'm a Christian, I believe in abortion because that could affect you, you know, down there. So she know what she could do with her body, and she know what she's not supposed to do. So I don't feel like he should force her to do anything. Yeah. That's what I feel. He's wrong.
Let her keep the baby.
Yes.
I think, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think he should face the wife because like, what he did, the truth can either come up,
Mm-hmm.
come out either way.
Mm-hmm.
But then, right away or later on in life,
The truth shall make you free.
yeah.
Andy?
I share the same sentiments with Azani. Yeah, face your wife and let her know that you slipped up. And if she really wants to stay with you at the end of the day, she gonna hold you down. And if she wants to leave, like I no reconcilement. What? You bringing a whole baby on the side? He's gone. He's cooked.
Cool. He is good. Not gonna lie.
Anyone else?
That's just a good cooking.
I guess I'll go.
Go ahead.
So the first part there was stealing your love. You gave her your love and broke your covenant. You're an awful human being for that one, and you need to pray to God and ask for mercy. That's the first part we want to acknowledge. And then you thought about killing an innocent child. Sorry, unaliving an innocent child. That is unbelievable to me. But yes, I would say be a man for the first time in your life and fess up. Again, you already broke that covenant, broke her trust. And even if there wasn't a child, she should leave you. She deserves far better than that. And I hope she knows her value when she will leave. That's my sense.
And Deidre?
Especially like to think about tricking her to drinking this thing. Like, are you crazy?
Uh-huh.
What is this?
Any other? I got something to say, to answer to you guys, but go ahead.
Because
Who else?
so many things will go wrong with
Yeah.
like
He's in the wrong.
forcing.
Mhm.
Bad person.
Let me hear that. Let me hear you. Jaden is the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me hear you.
I want to know.
He actually like tongue of committing murder.
Uh-huh.
It's awful.
It's a murder, not murder.
Okay. All right.
No,
Uh-huh.
you say what?
He's thinking of unaliving somebody. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just, well, not me,
Uh-huh.
but he should just confess to his wife.
Uh-huh.
And she should take that divorce money
Mm-hmm.
and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And this should be conference and then take care of the baby, take it out.
Uh-huh. Let me hear you.
I was like, all that.
But he wanna
I
go.
just want to add one last thing. And the reason I say she should move on is because we just talked about something earlier. Or does body count matter? Does this matter? Does infidelity truly matter to women if that man's taking care of you? Is your value only determined by his money and the way he's taking care of you? If a woman cheats, she gets pregnant by the next man, you think that man's staying? Exactly.
Okay, Lorraine, I feel in my head, right? I feel personally like, okay, partner cheat, right?
Uh-huh.
He tell his wife they get divorced, right?
Uh-huh.
I feel like he should try to build like I won't say a relationship, but like an understanding, so that he don't get put on child support or not to take care of the child together, like co-parenting or something like that. To at least do something right, because he done went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. Though.
He went so wrong.
Already, right?
Okay.
But at
you-
the same time, she is wrong because she went and sleep with a married man.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But what if he did? She didn't know if he was married or not.
I mean, if she didn't know.
She knew. They work together.
Yeah.
They'll co-work. You guys ever heard about the end justifies the means? You never heard that. That's a philosophy that a lot of political operatives use. That if I have to get to this point, and to get to this point, I have to get rid of something and get rid of those things. Now, what if the individual is somebody who reads the Bible and he's getting some pointers from the Bible? And I hope you guys are familiar with the story I'm going to bring up. There was a king in Israel. He was married. He had more than one wife. He saw a pretty woman. The woman was married. The husband was out fighting war, defending the country. But he sent for the woman. Don't forget, he's king. He has power. He slept with a woman, got the woman pregnant. And once he got the woman pregnant, that's a scandal. He wants to deal with the situation. So he sent for the husband who was out there fighting the war. Brought the husband home like he's trying to question how is the war going on, what's happening on the battlefront. And after the husband gave him a report, the king says, okay, you're already here, Omar. You could go home, go spend some time with your wife before you go back to the front line.
The wife you just slept with.
Yes. The guy says, no, he's not going. He cannot go and spend time with his wife whilst his fellow soldiers are out there on the battlefield. So he sat on the steps of the palace, refused to go home to sleep with his wife. The king looks at the situation and he says, man, I am in a tough situation. I'm in a fix. I need to get out of that. So he gave the guy a note to take to the general and told the general, put this man in the heat of the battle. Put him at the very front lines to face the enemy. The guy takes the note to the general, not knowing that he's actually carrying his own death note. You put him in the front lines, he's killed. Now the king has an excuse. He turns around and he marries the woman, so he has an additional wife in his harem. Do you think the king's action was noble?
No, he was wrong. That's King David.
King David. He was wrong, right?
Yes. Why would you do that? Make the man get unalive because you get his wife pregnant?
Jaden, what do you think of it?
That was no
People-
accountability.
People
Sorry.
in the back in the-
Huh?
people back in the days were like rootless.
They were ruthless back in the days. They are ruthless today.
They still are rootless.
Oh.
Just low key.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
I just can't believe the lack of accountability in that story.
Mhm.
It's still every time I hear it, it is
There is accountability.
where
Well,
You felt bad.
well.
that was it.
Now, let me tell you what the accountability was. You know, we pushed God aside lightly. God actually sent the prophet to speak to the king. And the prophet approached him and said, there was this guy who had lots of sheep. But some visitors came to him to visit him. And he wanted to prepare a meal for them. He left all his sheep, but this neighbor had a lamb. He took the neighbor's lamb, slaughtered it to feed his visiting friends. And what do you think of this man? And the king said, man, this man is wicked. He needs to be killed if he could do something like that. And the prophet said to him, but David, you are the one who did that. You have so many wives. You could have had more. This man had just one wife. You violated her and had him killed. You, the evil one. And that's why David wrote a psalm, Psalm 51. That's a great psalm. I know it by heart. Great psalm, where he confessed his sin that he had done wrong to the Most High. I mean, if we had time, I'll just recite that song, but I don't think we have the time. Maybe at the end, if I can, I'll recite that to you. You know, that's where the accountability lies.
Okay, now I see the accountability after the fact.
Right.
When a prophet had to confront him.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot to get someone to take accountability.
Right. So there is final destination and final accountability in the presence of
God.
God Almighty. No matter what we do, put God first. And, rely on His judgment. The impression we were given sometimes that the Bible doesn't have important messages, life-changing instruction for us, that's a lie. I'm telling you, if we really go by the Bible answers every question we have in life. We get powerful answers. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Let's look at the second scenario. Scenario number 2. My boyfriend and I are freshman students at the local university. We are both spiritually minded and virgins, and we intend to stay that way until marriage. We share a common interest of sports, dining out, and exploring nature. However, I am religious, but he is not. I go to church, I keep a Sabbath, and I do not eat blood and unclean meats. He has no religious affiliation, but he reads the Bible and he has a collection of occult books. He plans to major in the field of astrophysics. My parents do not approve of the relationship. My dad says that I should not be unequally yoked to an unbeliever and that I must end the relationship. My boyfriend and I spend wonderful moments together, and it would break my heart to end the relationship. I ask, should I disregard my parents' advice? 1. 2, is there some way we can work this out without hurting anyone's feelings? 3, is it possible that someone may be reading occult books for intellectual enrichment and yet have no interest in actual occult practices? 4, is there any danger in reading or investigating the occult writings? 5, should I try getting my pastor to help out? Who wants to go first?
First of all, the boyfriend seems like he's stuck in between. Do I want to go on the dark side or should I stay on the light side? Because like, why are you reading the Bible and you still occult deals with dark magic? Why is he delving into that realm?
As a Christian,
Uh-huh.
I read the Bible almost every day,
Mm-hmm.
but I still listen to other people. Like if a Muslim was supposed to come to me and tell me how they feel,
Mm-hmm.
I would still listen because, I don't want to be rude and not, pour people on their religion and stuff, because that would make me no different than a sinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be judging.
Mm-hmm.
So I listen to everybody's opinion, but I know what I worship.
Mm-hmm.
I know at the end of the day I'm a Christian. So that doesn't mean I can't listen to what people have to say.
Would you get into a relationship with a Muslim?
No.
All right. You all heard that?
But he never said what he was though.
Uh-huh.
The
Well,
boyfriend
he's
never
not
said.
religious. The
Exactly.
boyfriend is not religious. But here you just said that you as a Christian,
Mhm.
you wouldn't get into a relationship with a Muslim.
Mhm.
In other words, it's like the father is telling the young lady here, you should not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever,
Right.
somebody who's not of the same, spiritual persuasion as you are. That's the father's position.
Mhm.
And you sort of like confirming the father's position. Now, I'm almost certain when this young lady got involved with this guy, she wasn't aware of all what he was into. That was discovered eventually. I'm not getting into that, but let me hear from the rest of you before we go on.
He looks like he wasn't listening.
Go ahead.
I think that the girl should listen to the parents.
All right.
Yeah, because they could always tell if this person is good for you or not.
Are parents always right?
No.
Not always.
They are always right, but
They
they
could
know a lot.
always tell you like who is good for you. or not.
Majority of the times when they warn you about a person, you're gonna see the light later on. So you should have.
It depends on what kind of parent you have though. You have jealousy parents
Oh boy.
that they will see that you're doing good and try to say, oh, I don't think you should do this because it's not to pull you away from us.
Are you telling us that parents can be jealous of their children and don't want to
Yes.
see their children do better than them?
Yes. Especially mothers
against
against their daughters.
Uh-huh.
I have seen it happen to me.
Wow, personal experience.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And where mothers can be jealous of their daughters and put their situation and their daughter be like, oh, this can happen to you. When you get older, this can happen to you, but it didn't happen to them. And they just trying to put on you to make it seem like you're the one who made their mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Kian, what about you?
Wait, okay. I feel like. Hang on, man. Yeah, go on. Right.
Anyone else before?
Brain went blank.
Yeah, anyone? You? Then?
I think parents they know a lot, but
Mhm.
they take a lot from their own experiences and push it on us.
Mhm.
It happens to us too.
Mhm.
The same experience that happens to them.
Mhm.
I think a cycle repeats, but they can't always just push it on us to make us have doubts in our head
Mhm.
and basically mess up what we have.
Mhm.
I do think that because you know, like happen to me too, like father, son, whatever. Yeah, I feel like they can be envious and jealous, or they might not want them to do better than them. They might want to dictate what they should and shouldn't do.
Mhm.
But I feel like it could have happened to them too, like from their parents, and then they just lean it to you because it happened to them. So
Mhm.
it's
They
like
have
they
to break the
just
cycle.
exactly. So if you could break the cycle as well, and that's what I plan to do.
Mhm.
And I think the cycle has to break because parents should be one of the most influential people in your life.
Definitely, you've got to honor your parents, and you've got to give credit to their opinions, the positions that they take. Yeah, you want to say something? All right.
Do we have like an age on these people, these children, or adults?
The freshmen
Freshmen. Okay,
in
sorry,
college.
that's that part. Okay, well, freshmen in college. Perfect. So me personally, I have the little lovely thing right here. I see we are both spiritually minded
Mhm.
and virgins and intend to stay that way until marriage. That's showing me a strong level of
Connection.
yeah, the like and what's that word I'm looking for? Restraint.
Mhm.
So you're already showing me you have very strong principles.
Mhm.
So I'm a person. I got baptized, and I love the fact that I got so much grace from it. But one of the biggest things I really got from it is do not judge. So the young lady I'm talking to, she's a Muslim. She accepts me for who I am. I accept her for who she is. If you're truly trying to be like Jesus Christ, you would not judge others. You would accept them for who they are. Even if you don't connect with them and you choose to walk away, I don't think that that's a justified reason to just say, nope, can't be with them. And the parents stepping into this one as freshmen, y'all are not children anymore. If your parents have not raised you to the levels where you know better and who to choose, I feel like something's going on there. This young man actually sounds very sound, very grounded, very spiritually connected. And yes, he's going through life just like all of us. He may fall short, but he's holding himself to a very high standard that not even most Christian men hold themselves to.
Mhm.
So that's something you can't lowball that.
Mhm. Anyone else? So let me ask you guys something. Is there any lesson to be garnered or learned from this scenario here?
A lesson.
Yeah.
I think you should do what you believe in, what you feel, not
Uh-huh.
what others influence you.
Okay. Let me hear that again.
I think you should do as you feel
Uh-huh.
and not let others influence you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Pay attention to who a person is.
Mm-hmm.
See how truly spiritually connected they truly are. Because again, I'll say it. Just because someone is a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever you want to call it, it does not mean they're a good person if they're not truly tied to their faith.
Mm-hmm.
This person, seen based on this story, has strong principles and he's showing strong action by holding himself out until marriage for that young lady.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you what's the important lesson here from my point of view. First of all, in life, we have to be open-minded. You can't be closed-minded that you want to shut out every other person's perspective and that your perspective rules. That's one. Secondly, it's important in relationships for us to have open communication, open, honest communication. Yes, the young man is reading occult books, but notice where his focus is: astrophysics, which really deals with the heavenly bodies and the relationships, etc. And once you get into looking at astrophysics, you might begin to look at what is called metaphysics. Metaphysics and occult works come under an umbrella of what people call esoteric teachings. Now, what's bad about before I even go on, can anyone tell me what's bad about occult practices? Anyone tell me? Can,
Dark magic.
Go ahead.
It's
Go ahead.
dark magic. It's going into that realm where like using Ouija boards and
Connecting with the devil.
right.
Yeah.
You see, that's the distinction here. When people dabble into the occult, they're usually calling upon demon spirits.
Like
The
people
occult will involve things like maybe voodoo practices. I'm not too sure. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Things like obia, witchcraft,
magic, reading minds.
Yeah. this sort of thing. But I think it's important that in a situation like that, you gotta bring your parents to sit down with your boyfriend where you can have candid discussions so that the parents can question him, find out where exactly he stands in terms of his basic philosophies and ideals of life. You know, simply because somebody reads a book. For example, I have read books about secret societies. I'm not a member of any secret society, but I read books about them because I wanted to know what's going on with the secret societies. And when I first read things about them, I spoke about some of these matters on my radio program in the morning, on Monday mornings. And then I came to realize that it was unwise of me to mention these things because what I know about them that I don't approve of, it's best if I discuss it with somebody one on one who wants to know about it. But it's none of my business to talk about this publicly out there. And I've come to understand the role that secret societies play in Western communities, if I may, whether it is in European countries, the Caribbean area. Um, when we speak about secret societies, we're talking about fraternal organizations, and there are many of them. And they do have good purposes in many instances. And they've found reasons to keep some things as guarded secrets, and I can't blame them. If I can bring together a group of persons who share my ideas, my values in life, and we can put in place some secret signs and symbols and ways of operating to benefit the group and not others, why shouldn't I do it? Are you all following me?
I am.
So I'm saying that, let's not be closed-minded about matters. As a matter of fact, if you guys are on the internet, you'll come across some stuff right now because we are actually living at a time when we have an explosion of knowledge. What has been uncovered. And when you look at things, for example, airplane flight, there was a time people had spoken about that. People say this is crazy. But we invented the camera, which is based after how human beings see. That's what it is. We've come to learn a lot about vibration and frequency. Your eyes do not make direct contact with what you see. But there is a principle at work which was placed there by the Creator Most High so that things travel in waves, vibrations, frequencies comes to you. We have cell phones. Your cell phone is not connected to anything physically, but yet the messages come through it. Men came to develop those principles. They're using those principles to develop an advanced technology that's beneficial to us. So I'm saying, let's not be closed-minded. There are things we definitely have to put aside. And when you have situations such as this scenario here, it's important, if you find yourself in that you first have a candid discussion with your partner, and then eventually bring your parents into the circle with your partner so that as a family in the making, because eventually if you marry that person, the parents become your in-laws. So a family in the making, let's sit down, discuss that, and see if there is a way forward without breaking up the relationship. You guys follow that? And that's why, yes.
Have you met your parents?
If what?
Have you met your parents?
No. And that's why the questions were asked of the different things that can. You do not disregard your parents' advice. You will take your parents' advice under consideration. You're going to discuss what your parents have said to you with your partner. your freshman partner. You're going to talk about that. And you're going to see how he reacts, whether he's willing to meet with them.
Now I want to clarify. Did not say disregard the parents' advice, but in that statement it was like the parents were absolute,
Yes.
and this is an adult
Yes.
we're talking about. So the parents need to be more open to see who
True.
that individual is, because based on what we know about him, he holds himself to very high standards. So
Right.
I personally believe,
Mhm.
because I've had a lot of parents. Well,
Mhm.
most parents love me,
Mhm.
but I've had one parent that did not like me, and it was simply because I was, a different color.
Mhm.
But that one really triggered me because it was like she was treated amazingly.
Mhm.
Love that girl. She was amazing.
Mhm.
And that was the only reason. So yes,
Mhm.
she should still have said no and
Mhm.
chose me.
Mhm. Let me ask you guys, think that simply because parents have degrees, whether it is a degree in theology, a medical degree, a law degree, you think they're not ignorant?
Yes, and that- some
We all have measures of ignorance in us. And so for parents to think that, they know it all and they can just simply give you a blanket um, directive to do or not to do something, sometimes you have to question the directives that come from parents. But you don't do it in a disrespectful manner. That's the key. You know, um, if you just have to take everything from parents, do you know how many? I'm sorry, I have to mention that. Do you know how many fathers and stepfathers abuse their daughters and stepdaughters because those daughters and stepdaughters didn't have the gumption to stand up to them and tell them that you're doing something which is wrong?
A lot.
So I'm saying to you, young people, man, be empowered, be knowledgeable, be wise, and know how to set boundaries, to draw the lines in terms of how you're going to get involved in relationships, no matter at what level. It could be at work. Some of you guys are in the workforce. At least one, two, three of you in here.
I believe the public.
Well, you never walk in on the job and let people bully you and push you around and take advantage of you. Draw the lines. Set the boundaries. Have people respect you.
I
Any
love
re-
that. That
Any
was actually-
reactions? All right. Well, we've just about come full circle. We're at the 8:30 hour. I want to thank you guys. I think the discussion was fruitful. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
We didn't have Shanice on this evening. Shanice had a prior commitment and so she couldn't make it. Nobody, she's on with us. How you call this thing? Stream?
Yeah, stream.
Boy, I am so technology challenged. I do a lot of things, but most of the tech things you see, those of you who have seen the stuff on Facebook and YouTube, my wife is the one behind that. She's the person who has a relationship with AI. She better watch herself because I'm a very jealous husband.
say every month.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
wow. Well, I just want to say, lovely conversation as always. Everybody's absolutely amazing. One of the things I would love to do future-wise with everybody is like I love to have that dialogue between each other, especially in the things we disagree with.
Mhm.
We have to learn to articulate our arguments. Otherwise, it's never going to bring us closer together. Emotions do not win debates. The moment you say "I feel," you've lost. Prove your point with the facts.
Mhm.
So that's all I really want.
And let me just say that next week is Thanksgiving.
Come on.
And I want to extend in advance, ahead of time, a happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's connected to us here this evening and all of us in here. Depending on how we do this, I don't know what management has in store. If we meet on Friday of next week, I want us to get together afterwards. I'm going to treat the group. I do that every now and again. We just go out and have a little finger food or something and have a couple of refreshments. So next week, Friday, if we're on, whether we're on or not, Andisha, get the telephone numbers so we can get together someplace and let's have a good time. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, and that's my treat. All right. So again, thanks to all of you, folks. connected to us. We have to sign off. So until next week, same time, same place. Hopefully, you guys stay safe, be blessed, give thanks and praises unto the Creator Most High. You're saying something?
Blessings.
Oh, blessings. That's that's the owner and manager of the radio station, So that's it. All right. He has to come and sign us off with a singing song. Which by the way, that was created by my wife.
It is not me. I have braces or something. Well,
It's an older picture.
No, that's a picture. I fixed it.
Oh, that's what happened here? I realize that. Where's Josh?
He's coming.
Alrighty. Oh man, you always all right, and Josh, it's all yours.
Got it. Thank you. Oh my God, it was a great conversation today.
All right,
I love
thanks. Yeah, we had a full house. I like it like that.
it. Me too.
I like it like that.
Most definitely. And I